Hello, money magicians.
Hey,
Welcome,
Van.
welcome. Hi, Pabi. So, if you've just joined the show, my name is Vangile Makwakwa, and I am the founder of Wealthy Money. I help women of color heal ancestral money trauma so that they can fall in love with their bank accounts, increase income, and live their best lives. And this is episode 29 of the Money Magic podcast. We started as the Money Magic series and it's now an actual podcast. You can find us on iTunes, Podbean, um, where we're on Amazon as well, and a Spotify, and of course, if you're watching this on YouTube, great. Subscribe to any of those platforms. If you're watching on iTunes, please listen to this podcast and then leave us a review and a 5-star rating. We'd greatly appreciate it. My guest for today is Pabi. Hi, Pabi.
Hey, Van. It's so wonderful to be on your show. I've been looking forward to it.
I've been looking forward to having you on the show. Wow, because whoa. So Pabi, you started the course last year in 2020,
Yeah.
and now you're in the Next Level You Mastermind, which is only available to Money Magic students. It's so crazy. Like I've seen your journey go from like, ooh, should I spend this much on a course to yeah, like now I'm gonna spend about 10,000 rand a month on a mastermind. Or like if you're in the US, that's
Right?
like $750 US.
Yeah.
It's just like so beautiful to observe. So before we
Thank
even launch
you.
into your journey, tell us, who are you? What do you do? Brag on us. Practice bragging.
So my full name is Paballo. Some people call me Pabi, which is fine. I'm a sangoma. I'm a best-selling author. Hello. I am also a I am also a property investor. I'm a content marketer. I'm going to be launching my podcast soon. So yeah, I do a lot of different things that excite me. Yeah.
This is so exciting. I love it. Hey, wow. So where do we start? Okay, let's start with the usual question. I don't want to say, should I say usual
Okay.
question, but my favorite question. What does money mean to you? How would you describe money to an alien?
Oh my gosh, I would be like, first of all, alien. No, really. I think money is energy, right? And just looking at my own patterns,
Yeah.
I associated money with the things that I went through, right? So it's actually, I think money is neutral, never did anything terrible to me. It's not an evil thing. It's a wonderful thing, if anything. And it's opened up my life. It's enabled me to do more, achieve more, enjoy myself. It's the form of security, but more than anything, it's like wonderful because it helps me to like have more pleasures in my life. Like I collect Legos. I like to do like a lot of fun, creative things. I like to buy property. I like nice things. So money is actually a wonderful thing. This is not how I felt about it a year ago, just by the way. So yeah.
Well, a lot can change in a year when you're in the money
Yeah,
magic
I
course.
agree.
You don't think it, right? But then, like, I think a lot of people don't realize how much we change just from being around people, certain people in the course, and just,
Yeah,
just doing the work.
yeah, I agree with you, hey? Yeah, my life has really transformed, I have to say. Yeah.
I love it. So, let's go back pre the course, right? When
Okay,
did you
cool.
start suspecting that you had some issues with money? That there was more to your money story than just budgeting and spending as little as possible. When did it start to click to you? What was happening?
So for me, before I joined Wealthy Money, I mean, I thought, I have normal everyday issues like other people, right? And then it just happened last year, like in June, my ancestors were like, you have to join this course, you have to do it. And I was like, for what, right? So it was only when I started like doing wealthy money where I was like, actually, this behavior does not make sense, eh? Like I would hold on to money. It would be hard to spend on things sometimes. Like I would just like go into panic mode every time money was leaving my account. It was just like a mess. It didn't make sense. So like every time I think back, I'm just like, oh no, the life I was living, no ways. So I'm glad I decided to like, prioritize healing and do your wealthy cause. And I'm definitely in a much better space right now. So I didn't know until I was in there. And I think if my ancestors hadn't said you have to do this course, I wasn't going to do it. I was just going to like your post on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. And
of the money magic students actually come to the course, not because they want to. It's almost like it doesn't matter what I put out there. Like people are like, yeah, whatever. We're not really for this. And then people will be like, yeah, I was asleep in the middle of the night and my ancestors were like, why are you not signing up for this course? I'm like, what is going on in the spiritual realm? So I'm so used to the story where people are like, yeah, like people just would not let me through a peaceful night without signing up for the course. Yeah, that happens a lot. So a lot of people
exactly. I mean, exactly.
I'm always just like, my ancestors are doing more of the work on that other side for me. Probably meeting all of y'all's ancestors.
I'm so glad.
What's going on?
Exactly. So I probably would have been stuck in the same position if I hadn't actually listened, because they were like, this course is starting in June, girl, you're joining. And I was like, so much money. And they were like, who said you must worry about money? You're joining this course. And I was just like having this back and forth, because I was just like, but I did wealthy money, and I'm still in wealthy money. I mean, it's a lifetime course. And I was like, no, I'm fine, maybe not fine, but I'm getting there. It's like, so if it wasn't for my ancestors just saying you need to do this, wasn't gonna happen. So
I know, Shame, I understand. Like I'm like, I don't know. I think I actually just talk to you guys, ancestors, not to people on social media. It's like most people are
that's
showing
a great way to start, since
me on social media, but it's actually your ancestors that are like dragging you out there and like going, yeah, this is.
I mean, yeah, your ancestors are your parents. So sometimes with children, you must talk to the parents first and say, I think there's this wonderful course that your child needs to come and attend. This is what will happen. And ancestors, as loving parents, will be like, yeah, man, yeah, she has this problem. She's not aware, but we've seen her. So yeah, she's signing up. You'll see her on Monday in class. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's why I attract so many sangomas, because at first I was like, wow, like people will come through, someone will be like, oh, I'm an architect, and then they'll get in the course and they'll be like, oh, by the way, I actually twasad and I'm a sangoma and now I'm doing work with people. I'm like, okay, okay.
Yeah.
So this is actually what is going on. I find this entire experience so fascinating because some sangomas have met me, and even not just sangomas, but Brazilian shamans have met me as well. So this has happened a lot with Brazilian shamans, where they're like, what are you, a shaman, a curandera? What's going on? Like, I was like, I don't think I'm anything right now. Like, I just have the ability to call on ancestors and talk to them on your behalf because y'all don't listen.
Yeah, I love it.
I do too, actually.
Yeah.
So I'm very, very interested. What do you wish you had known before starting your money journey? Now that you look back and you thought you were fine, what do you think you had? What do you wish you had known?
Yeah.
Somebody had told you.
Yeah. So, previously I looked at money in a very logical way. I didn't think that we should associate any emotions to money. I mean, I have an accounting undergrad, so I would think of the stuff that we learned in university, but actually money and your emotions and the stuff you went through, it all comes together. And that's what it is. And my reactions to money were largely because of what I went through in my entire life, especially in my childhood, like the stuff that I saw, like parents arguing over money, certain relatives not feeling safe because now they're making more money and they're like, the aunt or the uncle with the most money, and now everyone has beef with them and they're looking at them snacks. So I was like taking in all those things, and that was adding to my money story. So I think if I had known before that, money, emotions, trauma, all those experiences, they come together, and that's the story you have now. If I had known that, I would have prioritized healing that, because it really would have put me in a better position, because I was just, tatazelling when it comes to money. Not because not because
And we
I
talk about the tatazeling. Don't you think that
know
like we all
tatazelling.
think it's a normal that tatazeling around money?
Yeah, we think it's normal. It's not.
From other countries listening to this podcast. So guys, tatazeling, so tatazeling is kind of like the South African word for like acting like a confusion, right? Like when you're like all confused and nervous and unsure, that's like it kind of encapsulates all those emotions
Yeah,
in one word, right? So
yeah.
yeah, we think that that is so normal, right?
Yeah, I thought it's normal. How? And I was around people who behaved like that, so it was a normal thing. And I hardly ever heard like good things about money. So that was life. That was like a normal everyday thing. Like you must tatazela. I mean, what do you mean you're not tatazeling? That's how life
And not
is.
just that as well,
So
like, it's also like you must work hard for it, right? Like to scale
yeah,
your business, you must work super, super hard.
girl. I mean, I was like burnt out at different times in my life because I was pulling crazy hours, not sleeping enough, not doing this. No. Oh my gosh, it was a lot, hey? I don't think anyone needs to live like that in order to make more money. Nah, no, it's a lie. Forget it. So I was just
No,
like, no.
no. And it
And
actually, and
also,
I
like,
think
you're
that's
working so hard.
oh sorry.
Yeah. So I was saying, like, you're working so hard, you are like sleep deprived. When do you actually enjoy your money?
I was about to say that. Yes.
Like, what
Yes.
the
And I
hell?
think that's the thing. People think that if you're going to make more money and especially be an entrepreneur, start your business, do your own stuff, you have to choose between sleep, rest, and
Yeah,
pleasure, and growing this business and increasing your income, right?
yeah,
It, it's posed as this choice, and it's almost not even a choice because it's like, oh my God, what are my options? You know?
yeah,
So I'm so glad that you brought that up.
yeah.
What was I? What was my next? Okay, my next point after that was also to just say, oh, one of the things that we were just talking about was how you were learning about business like how now you're in the mastermind and we're talking about strategy, which actually blows my mind because I don't know how many live videos I do in the Money Magic course talking about crafting a strategy, all that. But I think people don't get it because the word business strategy is so vast. And now that you're in the mastermind, what are you realizing about business strategy and understanding how to scale a business so that it starts to make an income with ease?
Yeah. So the thing for me that I'm realizing is that I think I would I don't this word. So I would put my life in compartments. Let me not even try to say this word because it's dribbling me, right?
Yeah.
But also I'm this spiritual person who feels her way through life as I go through it. I mean, before I became a sangoma, I was like hardcore logic. That's how life was. But like, initiation school is transformative. I go through life using my five senses, right? So, but I realized that even with business, I wanted to go back to doing things according to like business books, and they tell you you must have this strategy, and some strategies are crazy. It's like you must jump through hoops, find a hippo, find a fire eater, and do this and do that, and in order to make this amount of money every month. It's just like
Yeah.
crazy, right?
Yeah.
But then in the mastermind, when we were talking and you made the suggestions that you made for my strategy, I was just like, is that all? Because I'm so used to like all these crazy ways of doing things. And it's just like, it's so simple. And also, I mean, pre wealthy money, I did not know what ease was, right? I
Yeah.
wanted life to be hard. And also, I was just so attached to these ideas of being a strong Black woman. But when I look at what I thought a strong Black woman was, the ideas I had are actually quite toxic. That's why I was exhausted, you know. So I was just attached to those things. I didn't want ease. I would like want everything to be hard. I wanted that whole thing of like jumping through hoops. I must behave like I'm on Survivor. I'm like, girl.
No, Survivor, I love that. I think that we want ease, but we don't want ease. Like, I think
Yeah,
we want ease, but we think, but there's this fear that, like, if I let it be easy, like when I shared the business strategy with you, I was like, oh no, you can definitely get to 100 to like even 200,000 rand a month, or even like 15 or $20,000 a month in your business by just employing two strategies. That's simple, and they're not going to break the bank for you, and they also not going to kill you. They're not
yeah,
going to require massive amounts of resources, but they're really simple strategies. And I could say, okay, I've utilized these strategies and this is how I use them and these are the results. I think
yeah,
just knowing that it doesn't have to be crazy. And I know that coming from that background, because I've shared how, like, every once in a while, even at the beginning of this year, I was caught up, like, I let go of my own strategies because they felt too simple, right? Even though my entire business strategy has scaled my business to so many different heights that I could not have imagined with
yeah,
such ease, right? But I thought, no, these other people know best because they're presenting Excel spreadsheets to me. They've got fancy
yeah.
calculators. And then I
And you
got
think
caught
they're
up
no
in
brainer?
that, right? And then I got caught
Yeah,
up in that. And what happened was, because it was so complicated for me to understand, there was so much self doubt, so much
yeah,
angst, and just so much also trying to make logical sense of something that my brain and my soul was rejecting. So a lot of times it was like I was forcing my soul to take on the strategy. My
yes.
soul was like, can
Oh
I
my
just do
God.
it with ease and just simple, you know? And then realizing, and the irony of that is, after I did that and paid so much money to do that, I made less money in my business than when I was doing my own simple strategies and sleeping and resting. And that for me is what still annoys me till now. I was like, I basically paid
Exactly.
a lesson to learn how to trust myself for the millionth
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
Paid a lesson to remember to heal my not good enough wounds. Because after that, I went back into the money magic course. I mean, I've shared this with you guys in the money magic
yeah.
course. I was like, went right back and I was like, I'm back in the money magic course and doing the work and healing all these other wounds that still have me believing that the easy way is it won't take you where
Easy
you're
come,
going.
easy go.
It means that a business strategy needs to be the most complex thing. And like,
Yeah,
I think the hardest thing sometimes is that for students in the money magic course is that, like, I'll come through and I'll be like, this is how you craft your business strategy. This is how I would craft my business strategy, and go within and listen to your
yeah.
intuition, but still using some of these models. And then it just feels like, but that's like two or three things for me to do. And then, like you're saying, the strategy will be what works
Exactly.
for me, and maybe some tried and tested thing, but like it has to also come from within me. And it's like so hard to trust that. And I get it.
Yeah. I was actually going for strategies that were the opposite of what my soul wanted. So I'm sure my soul was just like, what the fuck? And I'm like, no, we're just gonna do this. My soul is like screaming, no. And I'm like, we're
Why
doing
can I
this.
procrastinate?
Yeah.
Because the soul says no. So this is one of the things that I've learned over time is that sometimes, not all the time, right? Procrastination, like many things, can have many different reasons why we procrastinate.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I realize, one of the reasons why I sometimes realize I procrastinate on implementing strategies and all that, especially these complex things, is that it's really so out of alignment with my soul that my soul is
Yeah.
like just blocking all types of action, you know?
Yeah.
So then what I do is I constantly override my soul when I'm in that situation,
Yes.
right? And then I wonder why, after I've implemented the strategy, I can't even get out of bed. I'm so exhausted. All I can do is just like open up my eyes because all I've done is use willpower for months and months to override everything within
Yeah.
my spirit and my soul. It's just been willpower, willpower. This is where I
Yeah.
think the difference between this is where ease comes in, is that even if something is a lot of work, it's so exciting. It doesn't, you're not using willpower to override your soul. So it's not taking all your energy, right? It's
Yeah.
like all
Yeah.
my energy is just being used to work, right? Versus work and override my soul. Because I think that is the issue, is that a lot of burnout and all these issues come from the constant fact that like we are constantly having to switch off and override the soul, override the soul, override the
Oh
message.
my God. Yeah.
Yeah. So wow.
Yep.
So how do you,
Hectic, eh? To live like that.
it is, right? So
Yeah.
um how do you see the shifts in your relationships, like personal relationships when it comes to money and even with clients, now that you've been doing the work, as you've done the inner work? What have you noticed the shifts are? How do you relate to people when it comes to money? Because I think that's one of the biggest issues, right? It's like, I'm going to do this. I hear it all the time. I'm going to do all this inner work, but then the people around me won't do the work. So how do I get them to do the work? And nobody ever trusts me when I'm like, you don't have to get people to do a damn thing, because like they are souls. Don't be the person that keeps overriding someone else's soul message, right? So like
Yeah.
their soul is saying they don't want to do the work. You, how about you do your work? So what shifts
Yeah.
have you noticed?
The shifts I've had, so I think before I would take on a lot of work for my writing, but it wouldn't pay me what I wanted it to pay me, right? Which is strange. So I've like increased my pricing, and even when someone is like, I'm like, thank you, bye, and I move on with my life. And also, yeah, I talk more about how much things cost, what I'm paying for this and that. And it's actually opened up my world, you know, to actually knowing how much things actually cost, how much people are charging for whatever it is that they're doing. And it's also helped me respect what other entrepreneurs are charging, right? Before I was just terrified of prices, right? I mean, I told you about that concierge thing program that I was put on, and then the trial ended. And then
Yeah.
I was scared to call the company to find out how much are they going to charge me now, because I was still sending the concierges a list of things to do for me, right? I call them, I am data zelling, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, how much are they going to charge me? This guy's like 29 Rand a month. I'm
I
like,
still cannot believe this. I still cannot.
like, what the hell? Yeah, like it's really little, but like imagine being so worried about how much you're gonna pay for something, only to find that it's like so little. That's like nothing.
So guys,
But
29
anyway, here
Rand
we
is
are.
nothing
I'm
to
still
do with
continuing with the concierge. It's like I'm paying nothing. Exactly, it's a crazy amount for the amount of work they do for me. I mean, I use their
So
services
tell
mainly
people, what do
for.
we do for you? So Pabi now also has a concierge on everything, on top of everything else. I'm hopping on board with that, by the way, guys. So
You
yeah.
should. Yeah. So I use them mostly for personal shopping. Like if I need to buy something, I'll ask them to find it for me, and then when they find it, I send them money, and then they coordinate the whole delivery, what, and I don't have to like look at tracking like where's my thing, when is it coming, whatever. I hate that kind of stuff. It just bores me. So they sort that out, which is wonderful because there was a mirror I wanted and it was unavailable online. So I was like, okay, please find out where this mirror is available and just like order it for me and whatever. So it's very nice. Like I get to spend less energy trying to find things, you know. They're also great with in-home entertainment. I mean, we're still in lockdown. It's not like you can go to the theater or watch movies. So they tell me what I can do at home. Like they'll send a list of what's like if you want to watch the ballet, we recommend this for you. Go on this website, we'll register for you. You just need to pay the fee, and then I just watch from home on my TV screen. It's nice. It's actually quite wonderful. And fine dining experiences. Like I ordered a meal this week, but also like I was so confused by how much I was charged for that fine dining 3-course meal thing, because I was like, why, like, what is the profit markup for this restaurant? Why are they charging so little? But anyway, I was so confused. So yeah, those are just the kinds of things they do for me. Like I wanted to do a course and I was like, please let me know when applications closed or whatever. So they do a lot of admin stuff for me, and it's really wonderful because I mean, before I used to love to do everything myself because I am a strong Black woman. I do everything myself. I cook, I bake, I clean, I do this, I do that. It's so overrated. What the fuck? So anyway, yeah. So that's another shift. I told you I got to a point where I was like, I actually hate cooking. I was thinking of my inner teen, and I was like, girl, you know your relationship with cooking has never been wonderful. You've never enjoyed it. But, you know, as per usual, I overrode what my soul wanted and I just forced myself to be this machine that does everything. Oh, gosh, whatever. And also, the wonderful thing about having a chef is I have like so much time to do the things I want to do. You know, I have a 9 to 5. I knock off. I can like sit in bed if I want to. I don't have to like think of you. What am I gonna eat tonight? What is for lunch tomorrow? Blah blah blah. Now I must go
Like
to
your meals
Woolworths.
have been planned for you and it's good, you know, like you can,
Exactly.
oh, what do I want in this fridge? And just that for me is the best thing about having a chef, to be honest. It's like, by the
It
way, guys,
is. It's the
Pabi
best
and I
thing.
have the same chef. Like I put her
Yes.
onto my chef. I was like,
He's
girl,
amazing. Really.
stop,
Zeus is amazing.
stop
Yeah.
what you're doing. Change your life and introduce ease.
Yeah. And my gosh, this whole thing of ease, it's just wonderful. I just don't understand why I was living the life I was living. I mean, the whole thing of cooking daily, because that's what I was doing. It includes like having to clean up the kitchen, loading the
Right?
dishwasher, washing the pots, wiping the kitchen floor because, well, you probably spilled something. Well, I spilled stuff, oh gosh, admin. Now I can do things I actually like. I can
Peeling
read.
vegetables
I write
if
home.
you're a vegan, like peeling vegetables because you want to eat organic, right? And now Zeus does organic, he does the vegetable peeling, everything, but you're peeling your own
Yeah,
vegetables, you're chopping. That is so time consuming. So by the time you're done cooking, you spent like 2 hours
dude.
doing everything. Then you're eating. Then after eating, you're washing dishes, all these things. It's just literally 4 hours just on dinner. And then on lunch,
Yeah,
because you're too lazy to cook it, you're eating some random thing here and there and
that's
ordering
me. Well,
something.
used to be me.
Whereas if you
Yeah,
have a chef, you just order everything in one go for like 3 days. He comes, he delivers, he comes back, he delivers again for 3 days. Your life is just easy, you know?
and
It's
it's
like you've
cheaper.
got food galore, you don't have to think about it.
Yeah,
And also, I think when you say why were you living this way, I think also is because we've been brought up to believe that when we start spending on these things, right, then we'll run out of money. And it's probably true if we're holding on to those deep traumas, right? Because I don't want
Yeah.
people to listen to this podcast and go, oh, I'm going to now ignore my entire budget and then just like do whatever all the Money Magic students have been
Yeah.
saying in this podcast. Because there's so much work that we do around the nervous system so that by the time you're spending that money and you're getting your chef, you're so calm that it's not causing so many deep triggers that are actually going to cause you to now overspend and go into full on survival mode because you're now spending on a chef and your
Yeah.
nervous system starts to react haywire in a haywire fashion, because that
Yeah.
does happen. So this is why we do the work. And then you realize that actually, in a way, it's so much cheaper. Like I find it cheaper
Yeah, it
to have,
is.
not
Yeah.
only cheaper, but
Money,
also
energy, time.
money, energy,
Cheaper.
time. Exactly. That
Yeah.
is also money, right? That's what we're not understanding. Your time and your energy. It's also money because
Yeah.
what are you now doing with your free time instead of cooking, chopping, sewing things, all that? You know? Like now you can use
Yeah.
that time to grow your business, to go into self-care, to do the inner work, which also
Exactly.
helps with your business. So these
Yeah.
things are all interconnected. I always say to people,
Yeah.
I do the inner work so that I can get my money right. And because I've got my money right, I can hire chefs, I can go to massages, I can do all the stuff. And because I'm doing all the stuff, I'm more rested. And because I'm more rested, I have more clarity. I can do more
You
in my
do.
business, right? And that leads to greater business productivity and me showing up in a particular manner in my business. But yeah, when we still have those deep core wounds around being the strong
Oh.
Black woman, and we don't see it. And the truth is that most people, it's really, really hard for them to believe that because what
Yeah.
we've been taught is spending money will lead you to being broke, right?
Yeah. True.
So and it's such a deeply embedded fear, I find. So, how have you seen your income change? You don't have to tell us the exact figures, but have you seen a shift in your income and your savings? If you had debt, have you seen a shift in that as you've been doing all this, as you've been doing the inner work and moving more into the space of ease?
Yeah. So debt-wise, my debt has definitely reduced considerably. And it's such a weird thing for me because, I mean, lockdown started in March last year. I lost some
Mm,
income from the other things that I was doing. I had mental health issues, so I couldn't do more. So I
mm,
actually made less money, but I was
mm,
able to do more stuff, right? I
mm,
wasn't panicking. Everything
mm.
I needed, I got it. I was still able to pay for my bills. I was still able to do nice things for myself. So it's like it wasn't really about the money, right? My life expanded, right? It became bigger. I think also even with me, I was able to like dream bigger and I achieved a lot more stuff. Things became less scary for me. So that was like one of the big shifts for me. And the thing with rest, oh my gosh. I am a girl who loves her to-do list. I love to take things off. And I have a friend who would just say, like, you're always working all the time. And I get so mad. But actually, I was working all the time. And like, is it, do you have to work all the time? No, it's not like I was doing stuff like saving people's lives. No, no one was dying. So what was the point to that? I could have just outsourced to other people. I mean, I'm learning to outsource now. I have like other people doing stuff for me, like your concierges. So rest, reduction in debt, because like also with the debt thing, I was like, yo, how long is it gonna take me to like pay off this thing? But like it literally happened very fast. And also looking at transformations that happen when I go on holiday, it's like things become even clearer. I'm able to achieve more, which just reminds me of the thing about rest. You know, I rest, I chill out, and I'm strangely able to do more. Initially, I would feel so bad because I was used to working all the time. And I believe that the more you work, the more stuff you achieve and you move ahead. But when I started, getting into rest mode and understanding that, I must live this ease life, I would feel bad. I'd be so guilty. I remember this one time I was sitting in bed and I was putting together I was like building yet another Lego set. And I was like, yo, like, I'm sitting here, get busy, got the Lego. Like, when do I actually do stuff? Like, I was so worried. I was just like, girl, when are
You're
you gonna make money?
to death, right? Like, this doesn't
Exactly.
make sense. And
Yeah,
here
like
I
it
am
doesn't.
always like, whenever Pabi's posts in the mastermind group, I'm doing Lego. I'm like, yes, girl, this is how we do. This is how we work. This is how we do life.
Yeah. Or like I would be painting, I would be drawing, and it was, I mean, it felt unsafe because it wasn't what I had been doing throughout my life. Like I said, I was like busy girl all the time doing stuff,
And
you
it
know.
does feel, I want to acknowledge how unsafe it feels. This is why we do the work on our nervous systems, because if
Yeah,
we're not doing the inner work to really acknowledge the unsafety of it and to heal it, and integrate these emotions and the other
yeah,
sensations, what will often happen is we will self-sabotage. We will
yes,
literally create, we will make our lives a living hell so that we go back to what feels safe,
yeah,
right? So most people will go like, oh, I tried the ease thing, but it didn't work for me. My life fell apart. Well, you were trying the ease thing, but it has to be accompanied by the trauma and the wounds that are stopping, by the healing and the integration of the trauma and the wounds that are stopping us from feeling safe, resting, because
yeah,
feeling like it is quite normal, especially for Black women in particular, growing up in households where most of us were told that, oh, a girl doesn't sleep until 8 a.m. or 10
right?
a.m. in the morning, right? You wake
Yeah,
up at the crack of dawn so that you can start working, and being indoctrinated into that. There's so much trauma around that. It's so
yeah,
subtle, but we don't even realize until we start doing the work and unpacking what happened in our nervous system and how that feels, and how
yeah,
that then impacts our ability to just rest.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it definitely, I'm glad you acknowledged that, yeah, it can feel very unsafe. I mean, even being visible would feel so unsafe for me. Like I just wanted to hide all the time. I mean, if I even had like a speaking opportunity, the amount of sweating I would go through, it was like I just wanted to die. So I just thought, ah, okay, cool, I'm just gonna avoid anything that has to do with visibility. But I didn't think that it was like a trauma thing until I did Wealthy Money. I thought, ah, man, I grew up as a shy child. That's what happens. It is what it is, I'm not as shy as I used to be, but I was like, ah, it's still there in my system, but actually my visibility issues were linked to trauma. It just wasn't safe for me. Yeah.
And the truth is that it's okay to be an introvert. I say to
Yeah.
people, I'm on the cusp. Actually, on all my Myers-Briggs tests, I'm 50-50 all the time, introvert and extrovert, right? And I've known that about myself for a very long time. I can do extrovert stuff, but then I need to be like I can also be indoors forever. Like July, I
Yeah.
left my house. Like, nah, I'll just connect with you guys via social media. I don't like to answer phone calls from people. Send me voice notes. I don't like to do the phone. I love being in person around people. So certain people I get energy from, but like I'm on that, and that doesn't mean that just because you're introvert doesn't mean that
Yeah.
you not get to be visible, right? I know so many introverts. Actually, one of my coaches is an introvert, and one of
Yeah.
my former coaches is an introvert, but does so much around, just visibility stuff, her own
Yeah.
marketing, showing up for
Wow.
YouTube videos, showing up for interviews, etc. It's not that these things are mutually exclusive.
Hmm. True. I just thought, ah, man, it's a personality trait. You're shy, you're an introvert. That's what it is. But actually, there was more to it. So yeah, at least now I know better.
Wow, this is so, so powerful. So,
Yeah.
have you seen an increase in your business income? You've raised your prices. did you lose clients? Because that's also the fear. Like Vangile keeps talking about this pricing thing. We're going to lose clients.
Yeah, it's happened. I mean, there are projects I didn't get because I charged what I was charging. And
Yeah.
people were like, oh, yeah, we don't want to pay that much. And I was like, okay, cool, thank you. Maybe they thought I mean, the old me would have been like, ish, okay, cool, I can give it to you at this price. And gosh, I just felt like maybe before I wanted people to just like me. So I just, put them ahead of myself. And I was like, yeah, I'll do this for you as long as the terms make sense to you. I mean, don't worry about me. So I was just so used to not putting myself
Um,
first. I was just like doing nonsense. So imagine if I hadn't like started with Wealthy Money, I would have just continued, right? And I thought some things made sense because you always hear of people saying, well, other creatives saying, oh, being a creative doesn't pay. It's a lie, man. You can make good money as a creative. Like, just stop with your limiting beliefs and work through your trauma or whatever it is that you went through.
yeah.
Like, you actually can make good money. So I know now that not everything is worth my time, right? I want to be treated in a certain way. I want to be paid a certain amount of time of money. And, if I don't get those things, I'm not interested because, I was saying in another interview that if you pay me less, it doesn't mean that the quality of my work is gonna go down. I'm still coming as myself with my level of experience, right? But you still want to pay me less. So it's fine. You must just get another writer to do this for you and just keep it moving. Just leave me in peace.
Yeah.
So that's what I am now.
Yeah. And have
So
you been able to find a new type of client that will pay you what you want?
yeah, I mean, my fear was, okay, cool. Maybe I must just like close shop and move on because who the hell's gonna pay me, right? But like there are people who are like, oh, okay, cool, whatever. Sure, let's do this thing, send a contract, let's start. And I'm like, what? I mean, just because certain people don't want to pay you, it doesn't mean that the
Yeah.
whole world is gonna treat you like that. So stick to your prices and yeah, don't settle. I mean, I was used to settling even when I wanted something, let's say I wanted a certain handbag, I will talk myself out of it and just be like, I no, not this one. It's too expensive. Why would I buy something that's so expensive for myself, and just like talk my way out and end up buying something a lot cheaper. But actually that behavior affects your entire life because you're just this girl that's like settling for everything. You think you deserve things that are a lot cheaper. It's like cutting corners. You're like this damn cheapskate, right? You you want a discount for everything. I mean, if the discount lifestyle is happening from a good place, that's fine, go for it. But if it's because of how you feel about
Yeah.
yourself, what you think you deserve, it's a problem. Don't.
Yes. I
Yeah.
think, and also like, it's like I've always said, like, I never want to be the kind of person that, how do you put it? Like, the only word that comes up for me is in Zulu, like, ngiznishe. It's like, I don't want to
Exactly.
be the kind of person who
Mhm.
denies themselves because,
Oh
well,
no.
everything is so unaffordable for me. But like, and that for me has always been one of the things. It's like, I never want to tell the universe or life that something is, I cannot afford that for myself. For myself, you
You
know,
know?
who else am I going to be able to afford it for? If I can't afford it for myself, then hi, no,
Yeah.
there's a
And
problem there.
that time you do things so easily for other people. You go all out for them, you stretch yourself, they
Yes,
dump their emotions on you when they should actually be
yes,
going to a shrink and no one is paying you for that work, you are there for all of them, you're carrying them, you're doing things for them, you are like you're doing the most, but you're not doing that for yourself. So that's just one of the things that I had to realize about myself. Like I wasn't number one in my life. Other people were. I was going all out. So every time I did something really wonderful for myself, I'd just be like, yo, should I be paying this amount of money? Should I? Exactly. And then I would feel bad. And I felt like I didn't deserve it. Like, oh, no. What a life, eh? Jeez.
it's not okay. Hey,
Nope.
it's like, I think that we want to treat ourselves better, and that's one of the things that I love about my healing journey, because I was that way as well until I started to have these realizations that no, I can't. Like, Because if I'm asking life for something, but everything, even small things, I keep telling life that I'm asking life for big things, but I keep telling life that I can't afford
Yeah.
this coach, I can't afford this course, I can't afford this kind of dress, all
You
that.
know?
Like I just end the conversation that I can't afford. I'll see it in another 3 or 4 years. I'm like, no, because I'm
Yeah.
asking life for something bigger. I want life to meet me halfway and see that me, I believe that I am that girl that actually is
Yes.
deserving of this, you
Yeah.
know? Because I also think that it's not just about how we treat other people to teach us, how we teach other people to treat us. It's also about how we teach life to treat us. You know, there's this one poem about how I asked life for $100 and life where I asked life for a penny and life gave me a penny. Whereas if I had asked life for more, life would have given me more, you know? So it's
Yeah. What
actually,
else?
I don't know, I can't remember what it says, but it's along those lines. So I've learned that for myself that I want to be consistent. If I say I'm really expanding and I'm asking for more, I don't want to close off that conversation with, I can't afford this. I want to sit down and go back and figure out how can I make it happen? How can I afford this? What do I need to do? What shifts do I need to work on internally, externally? Like
Yeah.
behavioral wise, I throw everything, as my sister Honey always says, like, I throw everything and the kitchen sink at it. She's like, I don't pause until I make it work. You know, she's like, I try to figure out, is this an emotional thing? Is it a mental thing? Is it this? Who can help me work through this emotional thing? Who can help me work through this mental thing? Who can help me with the practical thing?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I actually do love that. Throw everything at it.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is what I want. And life needs to
Exactly.
come to the party. It will just meet me halfway as
It
I'm
will.
doing the things, you know?
Exactly. And also just getting to a point where I was like, I don't have money issues. It's just emotional issues, eh? Like that's what it was. Life was meeting me. Like every time I showed up, it was meeting me and things were
Mm,
happening. I can't really say, oh, I didn't get in because I didn't. Some things were I just like a timing, changing your mind or whatever. But like money shows up for me. It's there. It does what it needs to do. It's just that even in everything, it was also hard for me to express my needs, so it would be hard for me to ask for things. So that's one of the things I've picked up about myself since like starting with Wealthy Money, and I've definitely gotten better at, you know, asking for help, asking for things, and not feeling like, oh my gosh, the audacity, girl, why are you even asking for that thing, right? So but also, I mean, I grew up in a home where, if you asked, my mom would just get mad and my father would just always say no. So
So
I
never
just
felt
assumed,
safe to ask. I know that feeling. So
yeah,
like
I didn't feel safe.
I would always like be so scared. And I think, and it's so
Exactly.
interesting that we talk about asking because, you know, like one of the things I learned as a business owner is that I cannot wait for people to ask me. I go out and make the ask. I go out to make the ask if I can collaborate with people, if I people want to
Yeah.
listen to what I've got to say, like come join my a podcast. Like I've learned to ask, I had to learn to ask to get so much done. And part of the asking was also being open to being rejected. I had to learn to
Yeah.
be okay with people
Hmm.
saying no and rejecting me. So that
Yeah.
has been such a journey as well.
Yeah. Because rejection was the most
Mm.
terrifying thing to me, I'm telling you. It was just traumatic. Like if you said no to me,
Yeah.
my life would just crumble.
Yes.
So yeah,
Yes.
it's one of the things I've realized. I think I attached it to my self-worth. So if you were like, no,
Yeah.
I'm not interested, I would feel like, oh my gosh, this makes me less of a person. But it's got nothing to do with it. When people say no, it's because of whatever it is that they're feeling and believing, and it often has nothing to do with you.
Mm.
So yeah, that's been a big lesson. I mean, imagine just going through life just being afraid of that. yeah, I'm glad I'm healing. So
How many things do we not go after because we're so scared to be vulnerable and we're so trapped by the trauma of having asked
dude,
and the reaction of our caregivers, so our parents and our guardians, when we did ask, and our inner child is running the show because to ask is to risk rejection, or my favorite is to ask is to look like you don't have, you're a beggar, etc.
yeah,
I'm like, oh my gosh. I honestly, I feel like being an entrepreneur taught me that if you don't ask, you really don't get. I had to learn to not wait for clients to find me, to go out and ask clients, to go out and invite people, to go out and do all sorts of things. And sometimes I'm like, asking clients for like, I'm inviting you and then I'm asking you to be like, hey, this may be a thing, even for corporates to be like, and this is how much you're going to pay me for this project, like go and ask because you never know.
yeah,
But for me
yeah,
to get there, I remember like, oh my God, I used to freak out and bite my nails and get stressed. Even like wanting to do something with someone and collaborate with them and be like, I really love their energy. I want to do something business wise with them. I'd be like, they're going to say no. And then I would never ask and I would miss the
yeah,
opportunity, you know?
yeah. So
So,
you
and
miss
it's
out
just,
on a lot. Yeah,
you miss out on so much and it really affects our ability, our expansion, right? It slows us down in terms of expansion, but it also just stops us full stop from expanding. And we've had this conversation before in the mastermind, how that's
yeah,
also why most of us have a hard time going out and being visible in communities that we don't know. So in communities from other countries, in with people that we don't know. So what often happens with entrepreneurs, when we're struggling with visibility and the fear of rejection, we then just insist on marketing to only the people that we know. And sometimes the people that we know are not our ideal clients. They
mhm.
just like, and then we get upset because why are they not buying from us? Meanwhile, it's because we're not talking to our real people, at least
You're
for
not.
the
And
content
the world
or
is
the
big.
product that we're
Yeah,
buying, that we're busy with. So
yeah. It's intense. But also expansion felt terrifying to me
mm,
because I was scared of losing the people I love, people just suddenly not being interested in being around you because now you're living a
mm,
different life and you're doing different things. So it's kind of like what they say when they say, oh, it's lonely at the top. So you're expanding, 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 but you don't really have anyone to enjoy these things with you because it's like you don't speak the same language as your old peeps, right? I'm not saying you're going to lose everyone, but some people will fall off, right? And also
and
thinking of
also, let's
how,
be honest, we also gain some people, right?
yeah, you
Like,
do, you gain more
mm,
people, more awesome people, which is great, right?
yes.
But yeah, it also links back to trauma and just realizing that, I mean, I had seen some people expand. I saw how they were abused and how terrible it was for them. It's like they ended up being vilified and, oh gosh, that's just crazy. And also realizing the other thing that I wanted to mention is that the thing about trauma is sometimes, well, a lot of the time for me, it's just seeing that I was actually stuck in a certain period of my life, right? Maybe something happened to me when I was 10, I wasn't able to fully process that. And every time something that triggers me happens, it takes me back to the 10-year-old self, right? And I behave like that. And it's just been so important for me to like work on healing my inner child and not allowing her to go crazy because like she deserves to heal and like be happy and enjoy her life. Like I can't keep
Mm,
living, yeah, I can't keep living from the position of a 10-year-old or like a 9-year-old or whatever or 15-year-old or whatever happened to me. It doesn't make sense, right? So it's important for me to just like keep being brave and working through all these traumas. I mean, I'm not saying that it's the easiest thing ever. It's a lot. So yeah.
no, it is. I'm so glad that you're sharing that because it is a lot and can feel like a lot.
Yeah.
So, I'm really interested. What are the 3 lessons or meditations in the course that you feel have made an impact on you and your relationship with money? So we're talking a lot about the inner work and referencing the course, but what are some of the things that I just like, wow, this really shifted my perspective and started to change the game for me?
Like the spirit of money exercises, meeting your money spirit and seeing them in different ways. And it's just incredible. And yeah, there's just something incredible about it because, like you said, you, like money is just like any other relationship, right? Money should be like your lover. That's the kind of wonderful relationship that you should have with money. You should like enjoy yourself, be kind to each other, respect each other. If you were dating money right now and you're looking at the way that you treat money right now, do you think that would be a thriving relationship? Or would you guys just like have to just break up because you're toxic?
I I feel like, yeah, I love that. Like that was one of my genius things about like, oh, if money was a lover, it really helped me change
Yeah.
that. And like, I don't know, honestly, I won't take credit for the spirit of money work because it's again one of those things like when your ancestors come through and they
Yeah.
like, oh, this is how you're gonna do the meditations, my ancestors and guides. Because me as me, like sometimes I look at the course, right, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I honestly do not know how I came up with half the stuff, like half
It's
these exercises.
incredible. It's life changing.
Like I
Yeah.
have no clue, you guys, because they're not on the internet. You're not gonna find
No,
them. You can
it's not.
educate. They're just not anywhere else. And I'm just like, I literally have been I'll just be sitting and minding my own business. I'll just be like, this is it. I'll
Crazy.
hop on a live and I'll be like, I think we need to do something like this.
Yeah, sure.
It,
So,
it's
yeah.
been an interesting journey. So I truly believe also this is why I'm never shocked when people are like, oh, my ancestors told me to do this, because I know me and I know what goes on in my brain. And then when
Yeah.
those things drop in, I'm like, wow, that was so far out of what I would ever, like me as me, have just
Yeah.
been, would have
Yeah.
even approached this or thought about this. But it's been such a fascinating journey. Okay, so
Yeah.
spirit of money and the other two.
Some issues are beyond you. They have been in your lineage for many years. And maybe you're the one that needs to be like, time
Yeah.
out. I'm sick and tired of this shit. So just being able to tap into the stories of my ancestors and see how things were done, what happened, why do we behave like this? Did something happen to us? How did my ancestors make money before, right? I mean, my ancestors were into business, they worked for themselves, they did things, they were successful, and just being able to try to bring that into this now age, so that you can do more of that. I mean, I would love to get to a point where I'm working on getting to a point where I'm no longer like working a 9 to 5. I want to go into business fully. And it's been very affirming for me to know that actually being business it's a thing that my people did, right? And knowing that, you know, I have like the wise counsel and they help me whenever I'm stuck, like whenever I need to bounce off ideas, they give me their tips, they tell me stuff like, like give you blind eye or whatever. I don't remember the word.
Yes.
Yeah, things like so it's wonderful. It feels a lot less doesn't feel like I'm actually alone. Before I used to feel like, oh my gosh, I'm doing this alone. It's gonna help
Yeah.
me, who's gonna do that? But actually I don't feel alone, right? So actually I give you two and three, well, points for number 2 and number 3. So yeah, it's wonderful just like being able to tap into ancestral history, and it's also
Mm.
wonderful to realize
Yeah, it
that
is. Hey,
yeah,
like also just that, what you've just said about ancestral history and understanding your ancestral history around money, like your
yeah,
ancestors coming through and telling you, like, what would be easier for your bloodline? Like,
exactly
what
for
would make
me.
building a business easier? For me, That's how I started the outsourcing and the delegating and the ease, because my ancestors were like, we're a people that for like in the last 3 generations, people have had to do their own hard work, last 4 generations, but we're actually a people that outsource things. Sis, like, this
Exactly.
is how we operate as a people. This is your greatest strength. I felt like they had just given me a superpower when they told me that, because
Yeah.
I was just like, hello, like intro Q ease, because they were just like, yeah, we like ease. When I started
Yeah.
operating from that, it was like my ancestors started to understand what I was trying to do with my life. Then they started coming to the party, because I think before, when I was going like all like superwoman, trying to do the most and everything,
Superwoman.
I think they were
Yeah.
also so confused as to what,
Yeah. Yeah, it's
like,
confusing. You.
where do we fit in? What do we do? This is a language we don't understand. And when I started working from a language that they understood, they could come to the party and, like you said, give advices in the meditations,
Yeah.
do share. And I was like, hey, well, where have these people been all this time? Like,
They were there. You were not talking to them. You were not
I
asking
like,
the right
they were
questions.
trying to talk to you. Like, you're operating in a way that they just like, and now, like, we don't understand this. Like, what is she doing? Because the time has changed,
Exactly.
but that wisdom that they have is still there.
It's there.
It's
It
like
will never expire.
it won't expire, because some of the core things, like, I'm like, really outsourcing and delegating is a lot of like human understanding
Yeah.
human beings, understanding their strengths, understanding your strengths, understanding how far you can go, understanding if you've got the time, understanding what your challenges are towards delegating and your wounds around that. And your ancestors can help with that. They like,
Yeah, it can help you.
we've seen you go through this, but you see this thing of you not being able to give up control. This is how it holds you back. And it starts from here.
Yeah.
How? So I can go heal there. Thank you, guys. That is
Yeah.
where I need to start the healing, so that I can just let other people do things for me, so I can do other things in the businesses, other things get done as
Exactly.
well.
And even just other things in your personal life, prioritizing joy,
Mm.
pleasure, doing the things you love. It's like
Amen.
your ancestors, I'm sure your ancestors don't want you to be this workhorse that's like working 24/7. Ah, that's crazy. For what?
Exactly. Just for what? So, I am so glad that we're having this conversation. This conversation
Me
is
too.
it's goals. Love it. Okay, so my next question is to actually ask this question, because I'm doing this for the Money Magic students. So, guys
Okay,
who are
cool.
listening in and that you're not Money Magic students, don't worry about it. The mastermind is only open to the Money Magic students anyway. So, what do you think is the difference between the mastermind and the Money Magic course?
I think the money magic course, right? That's like your foundation stuff. And I'm glad that's where I started, because the mastermind would have just like confused me, probably would have run away.
I mean, like, what the hell's going on? Like, these
What's going
people, like,
on here?
if you land in the mastermind, you've never done the money magic course, you definitely think that these people are going to lead you down to brokenness and bankruptcy.
Yeah, you like I would have been very terrified. And I mean, just some of the conversations we have, it's like they have normalized a lot of stuff for me.
Yeah.
Casual about talking about big things, like it's so normal, right? I think
Yeah.
if I hadn't started with the, you know, money magic course, I would have just like freaked out. But also the nice thing about being part of Wealthy Money is, you're in this group and people talk about that deep stuff. And
Yes.
it's a safe place. Like you were able to like build a safe place online, which I think is incredible. I've never been in a situation where someone took a screenshot of what I said and posted it on Twitter or something stupid like
And let
that.
us never be in that situation, please, guys. Like, you know what?
Never.
Like, I'm not even joking when I say this. I do a lot of work where, like, I call in my ancestors and I ask them, I literally give them the job. I'm like, take turns 24/7, just like keeping the space safe. And if
Yeah.
someone is not supposed to be in the space, let me know. I have like some really wild stories of like how certain people wanted to sign up for the course, and I'll wake up in the morning and I'll be told, I'll have to message them and tell them, I don't know why, but
That's
I don't think
wonderful.
you're a good fit for the course. You can do the
Yeah.
bank account, but for whatever reason, my ancestors are refusing that. They want yours. They are not okay with you being in this course. So it may be for
Yeah.
both of us. I'm not a good fit for you, or you're not a good fit for this. So, because like everyone's like, how did you get these kinds of people into the course? I'm like, I didn't. I
Yeah.
don't do much of anything. I just show up as me, and I'm such a firm believer that so much of what happens in this course is, at least in the Facebook group, it's just not even my stuff. It's not even me. It's something so much more magical that is being co-created by all of us, by the way.
Yeah.
I am a firm believer of that, because I also don't think it's just me, right? I am,
Yeah.
or just my ancestors. I see like how you guys are like, oh, my ancestors will, how some people, not everyone, but some people will be like, my ancestors told me to join this course. And I'm like, well, clearly they're going to be doing a lot of God's work in making sure that you are
Yeah.
as well, right? So it
Yeah.
doesn't fall on me. So yeah, that space is quite sacred. It is
It
quite
is.
beautiful.
Yeah, I love it. And also realizing that I'd actually, yeah, for most of my life, I didn't feel safe, right? So someone like me who had a lot of trust issues to actually go into that group and open up myself and say, oh my gosh, this is what happened. This is what I saw in the meditation. It was like a big step. And just knowing that people are not gonna, say stupid things to you and trigger you. No, they just like they send love. They're always very positive and encouraging and very supportive. And I think it's like one of the most amazing things for me. I mean, even when great things happen to people, like someone posting to say, oh, I just finished paying, I don't know, 1.5 million rands worth of debt. We're also happy for
If
that
I just got
person.
$120,000 in debt.
Like we're all so happy for each other. No one's gonna be like, "Oh, wait, Nana," in that sarcastic, mean
Right?
way. No, because those comments can really just like pull you
Yeah.
apart, and you feel like you can't say certain things to certain people. That's why when you expand, it's important for you to be in a safe space because you don't want to be dealing with people who are just saying, "Oh, new car, ooh, must be nice, eh?" In that.
Yeah, like I don't understand it when people say that to each other. And the thing is that we say that to each other. We live in communities that say that to each other.
Yeah,
And
people say that to you.
it doesn't seem like that would be a traumatic experience. But now that we've done the work, we realize that that's one of
Yeah.
those things that's a subtle trauma, because we're picking up on the tone and everything. And then
Right, the tone is
we try
mean,
to
eh?
correct so that we can get validation. And
Yeah,
I think what you've said is how things are normalized, right?
yeah,
I
we
feel like
normalize nonsense.
even for me, being in a community where I never ever felt safe being in a space where I could say like, oh, this is how much my business made this month, because
Yeah,
I was always scared that if I said that, then people will stop paying, clients will stop showing up because they'll be like, oh no, Van's got more than enough money. Like, oh, we can
yes,
just
doesn't need the money. Oh, then you think you're
you know,
better than
so I
us.
was always scared to say that. And then, like, just being in my own course, in my own group, where I'm openly sharing that in the mastermind. And it's just a thing. And everybody's sharing what they're doing,
It's
and we're so
wonderful.
open about numbers. It's just like we've normalized things. And I noticed that because it's so normalized and my nervous system feels so regulated, I even share these things now in my family WhatsApp group. I just go around dumping these things in my family spaces. And
Yeah,
I think
it's
also because it's
wonderful.
so normalized, and with the normalization it becomes easier to set boundaries. it
Yeah,
also it's also like I realized that safety, and that's when I started realizing, as we did this work, that actually, I never felt safe in my family group to put that up,
Yeah.
because, ooh, what if now this becomes, it brings up issues around black tax and all this stuff. And then I started realizing that safety is also a thing that I can build within myself, that I can work on within myself. And I can also set boundaries and not be scared to say yes or no or whatever. And it's just so interesting that once you get to that point, it's it's fascinating to me, because then it becomes less, you're not required to set the boundaries as much, because they're just there
Yeah,
energetically.
that's it.
It's just a thing. I think that's one of the greatest fears that we also have, right? Is like
Yeah.
openly sharing prices. I remember when I was like, oh, you guys should share your prices openly. And people like, oh, like, so that people disqualify and qualify themselves with ease, so that you don't have
Yeah.
to worry and stress, and people can easily qualify and disqualify themselves. And I think
Yeah.
that is so, it's also such a empowering thing when we realize that it is normal in the space that we're in. It becomes normalized that this is how we operate, right? We
Yeah.
don't have to run and hide and make money this dark, dark secret that we have to keep from everybody else,
Yeah.
because we're so scared. And this again is not to say, guys, go around and tell everybody your financial stuff. No, that's not what we're talking about, because that also, we do live in the world that we live in, but that having communities where it's no longer scary, it makes it easier for us to then share pricing, to
Yeah.
share things with our clients, the people that actually need that information to make
Yeah.
decisions. So yeah.
Yeah.
Whew. Okay, so my second last question to you is, how, like, most people feel like doing the inner work, they could do it on their own, they could just watch wealthy money live classes, they could read wealthy money blog posts just like you, and that would bring about a shift. What would you say to those people?
Sure. That's like light stuff. You actually need to go deep, deep within to actually get that stuff done. You can't just be liking a post that Van puts up on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever. Reading a blog isn't, I mean, that is surface stuff. You need to be completely in it. You need to, it's also nice to have other people who are doing the same thing as you, because you hold each other accountable and you're able
Yeah.
to go further, I would say. Or the other thing I wanted to say about the mastermind is that one of the things I've realized, I think we've been in it for like 6 weeks, right? So the
Yes.
stuff that I have managed to do in those 6 weeks, if I was doing everything on my own outside of a mastermind with no background, I feel like it would have taken me, I don't know, a year, 5 years, 10 years to actually accelerate and
Yeah.
achieve those things, right? Because like, the other people in there were holding space for each other. I
Mm.
thought some things were just beyond me and difficult,
Yep.
right? So I would be scared to like move ahead. But like, it's like a lot of stuff gets unblocked in those mastermind classes. And it's just incredible because I'm just like, it's been 6 weeks of this, but like I've done so much. So yeah, I'm really glad I'm in the mastermind.
Yeah.
And yeah, back to wealthy money, it's important to actually get in there and do the work. I mean, there are lessons for you. It's like a
Yeah.
program that sets out for you. I mean, you decide where you want to start, but it's a lot more than, it's actually got nothing to do with like spreadsheets and this and that. I mean, initially I thought we were going to be budgeting. I thought you were going to be holding me accountable and making sure that I didn't buy too many clothes every month, that kind of stuff.
Meanwhile, I'm like, have you bought that handbag? The handbag that your ancestors are saying you should get. Like, seriously, guys, this is me.
Exactly.
Like, I'll be like, I know you say it's worth X amount, but have you gone and bought it? Like,
Exactly. So it's deeper than that, hey? It's like being raised again. It makes me think of this whole, it takes a village to raise a child. You have your ancestors doing doing this healing work with you, and you have other people witnessing that, and their ancestors are also in the space. So it's like a whole lot of shifts that are happening for you. So it's wonderful. It's like great use of your money. Yeah.
I love what you've said, because I feel like we live in a world where we've been taught that healing is an individual thing. And often that first I will heal, then I will show up and I'll be this perfect person. And that's what's going to happen, right? And then we realize that actually healing is, yes, individual, but mainly collective. And that you don't arrive, you're having your breakthroughs as you are busy on your,
Yeah.
you're finding your joy as you are busy on your healing journey. So it's
Yeah.
not that there's an arrival point and that like it's this individual thing, and that actually doing it within the collective happens so much quicker.
It does.
It's
Very
just
fast.
like what you've said about the mastermind and doing things in 6 weeks that you would have done in a year or 5 years.
Yeah.
So true, because there are things like there are resources in the mastermind that I can share, that everyone else can share, that you wouldn't even know that there are
No.
people that do that for a living. I know there's so many times when we're like, there's actually someone that you can hire that can do that for you. I just,
Exactly.
like there's all these things that you don't even know you need, but then you
Yeah.
realize in the mastermind you need to do, and then you quickly find out that you don't even need to do it. You just need to know that it needs to get done, and that there are people that can refer you to other people that will get that done and make your life so much easier. And for
Yeah.
me, that is so, so powerful.
It
That's
is.
where the shifts come from.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, Ah, my last question is, do you have a morning routine or something? When do you get time to do the inner work? I get asked that all the time. Like someone actually, yeah, my cousin who's also doing the money magic work was asking me, what is my routine? When is the best time to do the work? I'm like, I don't have a best time. Like it changes. Right now that I'm in South Africa, it's evenings. It's right before bed. Like in Sri
Yeah.
Lanka, it was during the day. I mean, it's lovely to wake up, see the ocean, do
Yeah.
stuff. So like I could do things on my balcony, but I don't have that option now. So it's like, what am I rushing for outside to go sit outside and do the work? So do you
Yeah.
have a routine of how when you get the work done?
So again, my ancestors, like when I joined your course last year, they were like, you're gonna have to commit to doing the work 5 or 6 times a week. So that was the standard for me. On a week where I was really tired, I'd do 5. Like wake up in the morning, usually when I wake up, I pray, Japasha, and then I do a meditation, and then usually the meditation has like questions, right, to help you process everything, whatever. So I do that, and then I would do a journal entry. So that was like literally my routine for most of last year. I would either do that. Well, if I woke up late, then I would do the meditations like later on in the day. And yeah, I'm really glad that the mastermind has the Wealthy Money course as a foundation, because now it's like I'm like trying to find a way of doing the work daily, right? Because after each class that we have in the mastermind, there's usually stuff that you need to implement, right? So
Yes.
yeah, so so I still do the whole meditation journal, but there's other stuff that we're doing, writing letters to money. Well, it's something that you do in Wealthy Money, well, in the course, but like there's more stuff to it. So I have to make sure that daily I'm actually doing something, because I don't want to get to a point where I feel like I've squandered my time, right? So I want to get the most out of this, and it's part of me showing up for myself. So
I
yeah,
love that.
yeah,
Yeah,
you
no,
just
I
like,
also try to do something. I like if I get an hour in of any type of the work that we do in the course, in particular in the Money Magic course, I'm
yeah,
good,
yeah,
and then like maybe just 30 minutes of journaling, then I'm super, super good. I don't, and again, like I feel like 5 times a week is always good for me. I won't lie, I do about 4 times most weeks. And
yeah,
then like the fifth time is a bonus. And then like I like to have 2 days where I do nothing and integrate, because this work is also just like processing a lot, like,
Yeah.
like you let it marinate, and like, then your ancestors need to show up on those 2 days when you're resting and just tell you their version of things, because Libana, they like to over explain themselves. I guess they also want to explain how it's going on their end as
I
they do,
love explanations.
as they doing their stuff as to who, so anyway, guys, not every, and I think I want to explain this, that obviously Pabi is a Sangoma, so like her relationship to her ancestors is just on another level. So we have quite a few people in the Money Magic course who have spiritual gifts. So they have their relationship to their ancestors and everything is going to be so much more elevated. And then we've got people that have never had that relationship, and that is okay. They starting it, they building it over time, and it gets better. So there are people like Pabi, like myself, or like my sister, who will come in already have that relationship. It's ground solid. And then there are people that are building it and it gets better. So don't get freaked out
Yeah,
if you, I don't even know one ancestor. That's okay. There are many that are like that. And then
yeah,
they
you'll
build it,
meet them.
right?
Yeah,
But what you need to know is that as your ancestors are healing, they get really excited and they will start coming through, because they also want to debrief. They also feeling their feels, just like you feel your feels, and you go and you kneel
yeah,
down and you talk to them and you tell them your feels. They also like, yo, we need to debrief as well. Can we? And that
yeah,
relationship then becomes, I'm loving it. I really, really love it. It becomes so rock solid, because it's
it does.
like you said, Pabi, it's then you start to realize I'm just not alone on this journey. I have support. I can ask for things, I
Yeah,
can actually, even just on any given day, and just be like, ancestors, y'all know what to do. Come through. This is what I need, or give me the wisdom for this. Life just becomes so beautiful, and I
it
find
does.
easy, and also just that knowing of who you are as a person,
Mm,
you know
yeah,
that is just incredible. Just that
it is.
self knowledge, things that, like, I keep thinking to myself, I feel like I should have known the kind of business personality I am, but I had to somehow learn it in the meditations and through my
Yeah,
ancestors. It's like, how could I not have known? But then I think the truth is that trauma blinds us to ourselves.
it
And
does.
it's like when you're in survival mode, you're in survival mode. You know what I'm saying? You're
Oh, that's your life, eh?
trying to survive. You're not trying to figure out, hey, what would be the easiest and best way for me to manage this, grow this business, etc., etc. Like, you're not about that. You're like, I just want to make money, any kind of money in any way, anyway,
Yeah,
just
and you're over the show.
yeah, you're just all over the show. But like once you get to know yourself and know your bloodline and from who you come from, not just where you come from, but who
Yeah,
you come,
yeah.
yeah, things start to
It's a
take
game
it.
changer. I think
Yeah, it's like
also,
a next
yeah,
level of self-awareness, right?
yeah. And I was
Mm.
also saying that for me, just realizing that all along I was the one standing in my own way.
Yeah, I feel the same way as well. Hugh, but I
Ah,
such
man.
compassion for myself lately, because I
Yeah,
realized how deeply unsafe visibility felt for me.
yes.
Deep visibility, and how deeply unsafe moving beyond, how deeply unsafe it felt to move beyond my money set point.
Yo,
So, yeah, so even if,
dude.
like, I can see how every part of me wanted the
Yeah,
expansion, but like the unsafe parts of me were like, we need to just hold back,
yeah,
like we need to keep safe. So just that love, like I'm feeling it for for myself. So yeah, I know what that feels like. Oh,
yeah.
Pabi, this has been incredible. And I hope that people have gotten so much from this
I
conversation.
hope so. Yeah.
I always receive so many emails from people and messages about the Money Magic podcast. This is why it became a podcast. Because remember when I started, I was like, I'm going to do 10 interviews. And then, like, now it's just like, A, I enjoy this. B, people enjoying it. So like I received email, I received messages when I took a break to say, when is the series coming back? My Saturdays were spent listening to this on my Friday.
Yeah, I would wait for an episode.
My Fridays to work or my Monday mornings, I would just tune into the series. And now you're like no longer doing it. I was like, wow, you should never get people used to things. Eh? I've realized this.
I mean, you dropped an episode on a certain day, so I knew. So I'd always be like, oh my gosh, I'm looking forward to this week. Like, and then you stopped. Damn. So yeah, I'm glad you're back.
I was stopping and coming up with a strategy so that it could be
Yeah.
consistent now. So
Yeah.
how do people get hold of you, Pabi? And what do you do for people? Please tell us what services you offer and how they can get hold of you for these services as well, or just to talk, you know?
Okay. So I don't have a website. I'll have one probably like in the next few months. Number one, I'm a sangoma. Number two, I'm a writer. I write different things. I'm an author. You know, I can write articles, books. The other thing I do is property investment, but I don't really advertise that. And yeah, what else do I do?
Open for to collaborations with that?
Yeah, I'm open for collaborations and investments and whatever's good. So yeah, I'm open to that. So yeah, how do you get hold of me? Try social media. My surname is Rampa. So my email address is Rampa Paballo. So RAMPA@gmail.com. You can find me on Instagram. My handle is at Pabi Rams. That's at PABIRAMPS. That's my handle on Twitter.
Where can they find you?
On Instagram.
Instagram, Pabi Rams.
Yeah, same with Twitter. I have the same handle. And then Facebook, I have my full name there, Paballo Rampa. So yeah, that's how you get hold of me.
Love it. Love it. Thank you so much, Pabi. This has been
Thank you. This was fun. Yeah.
This is so much fun, hey?
Yeah.
Money Magicians, thank you for joining us again. Thank you so much for sitting with us, staying with us, watching until the end, listening until the end. If you really enjoyed this, please go leave us a 5-star review on iTunes, leave us comments and reviews on iTunes, right? Leave us comments on Podbean. Again, just type in Money Magic Podcast. And if you're listening to this and you're like, wow, the Money Magic course sounds like a course for me, and I want to be part of this course, please go and you can sign up for the course or get on the waiting list for the course. If you're listening to this and the course isn't open for registration, you can go to wealthy-money.com/money magic. If the course is not open for registration, on that page, it will tell you to get on the waiting list. If it is open for registration, it will invite you to sign up for the course. You'll be able to sign up. So again, that is wealthy-money.com/money magic, all one word, money magic, right? And you can also just go to wealthy-money.com/academy to see any of the other Wealthy Money courses. So this has been so fantastic. Thank you for hanging out with us and for just listening to this podcast. I can't wait to hear your feedback, your comments on YouTube, and your comments on Podbean and your reviews on iTunes. Have a fantastic weekend or day or whenever you're listening to this, right? Have a fantastic day further. I'll see you guys next week. Cheerio.